Hi, I'm Nina, and welcome back to my summer mead making series. I'm going to attempt to do something that I've never done before, and that's to cultivate some wild yeast. I'm going to be using honeysuckle. If you live in any of these places in North America, then you know the intoxicating fragrance of honeysuckle. It smells amazing. So I'm going to be taking the flowers of the honeysuckle and not only using it to make mead to flavor it, but also to see if I can capture some wild yeast that may be living on it. All right, let's get into it. So the history of yeast is pretty interesting. We've been using yeast as humans for thousands of years, but it wasn't until the 1860s when we were able to isolate yeast strains in their pure culture form. We did a lot of other weird stuff before then. For example, the mead recipe in my previous video called for the use of ale. The yeast in the ale would have acted as a starter for the mead, just like a sourdough yeast starter. While doing some research, I came across this video by Sui Generis Brewing. They outlined 2 methods for cultivating wild yeast, and I did both of them. My honeysuckle mead journey actually started about 11 days ago. Let's take you back to that lovely day when I forced my family to help me pick some honeysuckle. It was Memorial Day, 2019, and my generous, caring, devoted family stood out in the sun with me and picked honeysuckle. It was a sweaty day. I love you guys so much, thank you. But we managed to get what I would roughly say is about 1.5 quarts of honeysuckle. So my recipe was pretty simple. I used 4 quarts of water and 3 1/3 pounds of South Jersey pine barren honey. We added the honeysuckle into the boiling water and made a honeysuckle tea. Then we added the honey, and then I tried the 2 methods for cultivating the wild yeast. First, I put the mousse in a wide mouth jar. I put a mesh covering over top of it, and I left it near a honeysuckle bush overnight. In the morning, I brought the wide mouth jar inside, put it into a 1-gallon carboy, and waited. The first one was not as successful. Every time I shook up the carboy, there was a little bubbling happening, but it was not as active as I wanted it to be. The second method breeded great results. I put about 4 honeysuckle flowers into a test tube filled with the mousse, and I waited. The test tube, after about 4 or 5 days, started to really bubble. Some active fermentation was definitely happening. I poured it into the 1-gallon carboy, and things got interesting. It seemed like overnight the mead had come to life. There was a lot of sediment at the bottom, or lees, and there was a lot of foam on top, both of those things being very normal, foam and lees. But there was brown on the foam, and I was a little nervous about that. None of the yeast that I use creates a brown like that on the surface. It's usually just straight white bubbles and foam. When I smelled it, the first thing I thought was ramen. Yeah, let me introduce you to the mead. So, okay, I'm gonna shake it up and you'll see that it's actively fermenting. Burping. Some nice bubbles here. Yeah. I'll put up some pictures of what infected mead looks like. Do you notice those weird bubbles that kind of look like pockets? We don't have any of those weird pale pockety bubble guys. We just have questionable floaty boys. How's that, soy sauce? God, it just smells like ramen. I don't... So this is a complete mystery to me, and I kind of like that. I kind of like that it's just doing its thing and I have to respect it. Let's just try it. Yeah, why not? But before I try it, here is an update on the Queen's Mead. Lots of headspace, but that's okay for our primary fermentation. It's still actively fermenting. When I transfer it and rack it for the first time, which simply means transferring this liquid into another container and leaving behind all the dead yeast or lees, all the sediment down here, it'll be in a smaller container, which will be better for it, because oxidation can affect the taste. For all of you playing at home, the original gravity was 1.110. The gravity now is 1.044. So putting that into a calculator, it might be around 8%. I did take a little bit of a taste and it's very spicy. The cloves and the mace are very upfront, but it's still only 3 weeks old. So we don't know who you're gonna be yet, huh? Oh, I'm talking to it again. Okay, moving on. We're gonna try it. I'm sweating. I mean, it doesn't look infected. It almost smells minty now. It's a very sweet, traditional mead, but it's lighter. Yeah, but I drank it. We're just gonna let this continue to mature and closely monitor it. We're not gonna drink it anymore. If you've ever cultivated wild yeast for mead, or for beer, or for wine, I would love to hear about it, because I don't want this to be the only time I ever do this. I would love to continue doing this. I love the idea of using local ingredients and really taking everything that you can from the land to make your mead. You have everything you need around you to make your own mead. Some well water, some local honey, cultivating wild yeast. Mead can be made anywhere. Thank you so much for watching another episode in my summer mead making series. I don't know if you noticed, but my fingernails are really dirty and even have a blue tint to them. That is for the next video. Bye! But if I die because of the floaty things, it's been fun. 3 1/3 pounds of South Jersey